bring to you episode 16. That's right. This is the 16th episode of the weekly podcast here on youtube.com/fanatixfour, iTunes on Stitcher. I had a little stumble there. iTunes, Stitcher, freaking SoundCloud. It's on Google Play. It's a lot of podcast services where they are available, but it's not on Spotify because reasons. This week, as every week, we have a special guest. I have a special guest with me, my co-host. What's up? How you doing, bro?
Hi, hello. I am here. And I am
Greetings. Greetings. That's the kind of tone I had. Greetings, Earthlings. I am AJ. Yeah. So, what's been up? What's new with you? Have you been playing anything, or what's your week been consisting of?
I haven't been playing a lot of stuff. I've been talking a lot with a lot of different companies and stuff like that. Apparently, somebody's trying to a PR company that does PR for a lot of different developers is trying to connect with us to review the games that they I don't know, that they're in charge of the PR for. I don't know. So I got to look into that. But outside of that, I haven't really playing anything yet.
Yeah, me neither. It's been a real dull week as far as gaming itself has been concerned. But what are you guys playing in the comments? Let us know what you guys are playing, and then we'll comment and reply and say how stupid the game you're playing is. How terrible every single game is. Right now.
But
right.
That's actually a good segue.
And hopefully we don't offend you, because we don't want your fanboyism of your game. We don't want you to attack us.
You ruined the segue. But no, the reason why that is the topic of discussion is because a big game came out today. Multiple games came out today, but a big game that everybody is super excited and really
God of
came out today. Exactly. God of War.
Right.
And that has brought with it a ton of fanboy bait, right? Where it's all I'm seeing on social media is the whole thing of and I'm probably going to use this for our thumbnail, so full disclosure.
Right.
I'm seeing all these meme posts of God of War on PlayStation 4, and it's a graphics comparison, and then it'll be Xbox, and then it'll be blank. Granted, I'm probably going to see how the sausage is made, or so you know how the sausage is made. I'm probably gonna swap that out for Switch. But anyway, that's a lot of things of oh, this is on this console and it's not on this console, ha ha ha. And a lot of stuff that I'm seeing is whenever somebody calls somebody on it, they always default to it's a joke, as if a joke becomes more mature because we know it's a joke,
Right.
The whole criticism of it is
I said it was a bad art piece. That bad part makes it good.
Exactly.
It doesn't work like that.
It's just it's a thin veil for immaturity, and it's I can't completely blame people for thinking like that, because the gaming industry kind of marketed to us like that for a very long time. They don't do it as much now. But people just really bought into that whole speaking of that, I've been listening to this book called Console Wars. You should check it out. It's really good. Audible.com/doesn't exist.
Bro, I was gonna say get your freaking half off and freaking
exactly.
That's freaking funny. Yeah,
we don't have that link yet. So wait until we get sponsored by Audible and then listen to the book. But so it talks a lot about how the Sega. It's more from the perspective of Sega, but how their whole console war shaped out, and it was kind of they couldn't win at the game that they were playing, so they had to bring the game to a different place, So
right, exactly.
They used Nintendo's image as their weakness, and then that went from there to being oh, it's us versus them, and and it really spiderwebbed out from there, and now that's just how most people with limited funds how they cope with the fact that they can't afford or maybe legitimately don't want another platform. And I just think that it's weak. completely detached from like my current like the platforms that I have access to right now anyway. Like I have an Xbox One and I have a Switch and I'm getting a PlayStation 4.
Right.
I have a PlayStation 4, but that's a whole story. But yeah, like completely removed from that is just like I feel like that's just because at any given time a console has that moment where it's like it's the one with the moment in the sun, right? Like when Breath of the Wild came out, where was Sony's Breath of the Wild? You know, like everybody was like, "Oh, but Horizon's still good," and it's like, yeah, but Horizon doesn't have a 97 on Metacritic; it's in the 80s. You know, like it's like that sort of thing. So, and even if we really want to dial it down, Sony, with the exception of I think The Last of Us, I think most of their series fall around like the 80ish range. You know, like. Even Microsoft has Halo, and Halo has been known to like get high 90s and stuff like that. So it's like it's just like this weird, stupid. Like even if you don't like Xbox or don't want to have an Xbox or whatever, it's like why do people find joy and being like Xbox isn't as good as the box that I chose? You know,
I don't know. It's almost like they're reaching for extra validation or extra like I need to feel justified in my purchase of getting this, and it's no different from somebody who would be like who doesn't even care for like like their exclusive titles that come with their console, but gets them just to validate the fact that they have one. Yeah. It's like I need to get this series just because I have an Xbox or a PS4 or whatever, what have you. But yeah, like I don't get the like you said, I don't get the why people get the rocks off by knocking another thing down like that. It makes no sense. It's weird. So
for me, what I want to do to keep this from being just like people are stupid, let's complain about how stupid people are. I want to talk about positive things from each console manufacturer, and if you want to, if you think of anything aside from the things that I mentioned, feel free to mention those. I think I can start with Sony because I think that Sony is the one that I like the least out of the three. They're obviously really strong at these like really big narrative experiences like your God of Wars, your The Last of Us, and all that good stuff. Aside from that, which isn't really a strength of theirs, but a strength in the moment, it's like they're the popular one, so it's like they get a lot of the like they get everything, like they get their exclusives, and then they get the other big games that people on Xbox are currently playing right now, like the Maddens and the Call of Duties and the Assassin's Creeds and stuff like that.
Yeah, that pool's more so shared, but yeah.
I also like the fact that Sony did a really good job at pivoting because they really fell flat on their face with PlayStation 3 for a long time.
Definitely.
And they kind of used that failure to make PlayStation 4 succeed, and that's really impressive because it's very rare for that to happen. Like when Nintendo fell from grace, like after the SNES and stuff like that, it took a very long time for them to have another big win in the home console space. And
yeah, they rolled right back with it. And I'm particularly proud of Sony in this case because of like just the whole marketing behind the PS4 in general. This isn't a thing where it's like DVD, PS2, Blu-ray, PS3. This is a like to the bone,
right? Like this is why, first,
right? It's like, a console,
gaming success,
right? Yeah, right. And that you gotta respect them for it, And it's like you actually came ready to play, literally.
Right.
So it's like it wasn't just an additive thing, like and it plays games too. So that was cool. That was cool to see.
Yeah.
So it's like
that
was cool.
As far as Xbox, because I think that they're a little bit like they're not as obvious. They're very consumer friendly, like in every sense of the word. Especially now, like after like Phil Spencer and stuff like that. Like I remember, like when I had access to my Xbox and PlayStation, like far and away they have the best customer service. Like even like I dread talking to Sony's customer service because it sucks. Nintendo's is and then Microsoft's is like phenomenal. Like I've never had a problem that didn't get resolved by calling their customer service. But even outside of that, it's like all their initiatives and stuff like that is really like pro gamer, where they don't force you to play on their box. Like the thing that gamers ironically knock them for is the fact that they're like, hey, if you don't want to buy our Xbox, just play it on Windows. Why not? Like we get money for that anyway. I really appreciate that too. That's something that ultimately, like, if both of them were like that, you know, one of them wouldn't be necessary because the only reason why you should even care about one or the other on that end is because of the pool of exclusives. But because Microsoft is just like, hey, you know, if you already got a PC and you have a PlayStation 4, no worries, you know, play Gears on your PC. And I appreciate that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, like you said, like they're not too particularly like held up on, you know, buy this box or else you die, you know. That's really cool. I just like how I do like how they market things. I wish there were a little bit stronger on the exclusive end. Right. But I mean, other than that, I haven't had a real issue with things like that. I remember you talking about Sony's customer service like way back in the day when you had that whole PS Vita fiasco. That was nuts. That was nuts.
I've literally never had a good experience with their customer service, not even once. And that's terrible.
Yeah, I remember when I had to send in a 360 and like as far as like it had the red ring, and they fixed it up for me and I didn't have to pay anything. It's crazy, like, you know. So just to like further add to that point, you know, like they will take care of you, you know, and
I think it's like the exclusive thing is definitely something that Microsoft needs to like rectify. But
definitely.
They know that, you know, and it's stuff like that doesn't happen overnight, right? Like they have the Halos and the Gears and the Forzas and stuff like that because that's the studios they have access to. It took Sony and Nintendo literal decades to build up the love for their exclusives, and less so Nintendo because they were kind of the only guy in the they're only kid in the playground at the time where it's like, oh hey, Mario, you know, it's like, oh, we love this thing because it's the first thing that we play. But like,
right,
that stuff doesn't happen overnight. You don't make an exclusive that everybody falls in love with and it's your first ever exclusive, you know. Or franchise, not necessarily exclusive. It's a weird way to talk about a game franchise. But yeah, like I think that they can get there. I think it's going to cost them a lot of money up front, and that's what they're trying to avoid because like they're so used to making so much with so little. Like Microsoft is really good at monetizing their platform. Sony eats the cost of a lot of their stuff because like they can have a Horizon where they're willing to spend $100 million on making this game or whatever. Granted, it's not that much, but they're willing to spend so much more money than they're sure it's going to sell. You know,
right.
Because Horizon didn't do very well in the grand scheme of things. It sold, I think, definitely less than 5 million units. I think last time I checked, it was at like 3.4. And Zelda, last time I checked, was at more than double that. So it's like, and just on Switch, like more than double that on Switch. And then I think Wii U has like another 2 million sold or something like that. So it's
that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's like, yeah, they put a lot of money into their exclusives and stuff like that, but it's for a different reason. It's not because they're these huge money makers. It's because it's a prestige piece. It's like it makes hardcore gamers want your platform more. And it gives somebody a reason to go to you specifically.
Right.
And that's why I think it's hard for Microsoft to really get momentum with that because you got to figure like they have stockholders and they have a different business model that's used to them making money hand over fist for a whole nother business, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Whereas like right now, gaming is Sony's business. And I think gamers as a whole.
Oh yeah, that's definitely true. But yeah, go ahead.
I think gamers as a whole, they really like. It's like this weird self-centered thing where they think of a company in the way that they were introduced, like in the way that the company was introduced to them, like Konami, right? They're like, oh yeah, Konami sucks, and they're failing right now because they're not making video games. You know how much money they make by not making video games? You know how much money they were losing making video games? You know, like it's
kind of crazy. Like it goes back to just how people are in general. Like when they see you for one thing and they have you in that light as like that one thing, it's like you're pretty much like you're stuck there. You know, like we can't see you in any other light. So I think that's why it's so hard for people to like even though like you said Konami, when they try to take a step away from gaming, people are like, "Oh, well, you say you're not making games anymore? Oh, you couldn't hack it?" You know, it's like,
yeah, it's like the fact that, and I mean, to be fair, like I'm not happy with how they handled the whole Kojima situation. Like it was kind of crappy for them to do that. But at the end of the day, like everybody thinks that they have this vindication where it's like, oh, Konami's doing terrible now that Kojima's gone. It's like, no. They're actually making a lot more money now that Kojima's gone because third-party developers don't have that, you know, where they're able to sink a bunch of money into this like prestige piece of like, hey, look at this thing that we have, because they don't make money on the console sold because of it, you know. Whereas Sony's able to say, hey, Death Stranding exists and it's a masterpiece in gaming and all this stuff, right? Buy a PlayStation and you might be able to play it. That game might not sell enough money to make the money that was invested back. But it'll sell enough PlayStations to make that money back, you know? So it's like that is the thing that Sony is able to sacrifice that third parties can't. And on the end of Nintendo, like Nintendo's obvious, like they're great with the gameplay. Like that's their thing, you know, and IP. Like they make franchises that people care about deeply, you know, like they're I'll say Microsoft has the infrastructure, Sony less so. And then Nintendo, that has yet to be seen as far as especially with this year, you know, we don't know. Like that's still an unknown variable. Right. So we could very much so be singing different tunes by the end of the year, which it doesn't need it, but I'm hoping we are, just because Switch Online. But I think we'll get. I mean, I say this a lot on the internet that I think that Switch Online is going to echo PlayStation Network. Maybe not in the financial crises, but in the sense that it's not going to be good at first. It's going to be fine, you know. It's going to be good enough to be worth $20 a year,
right?
But it's not going to come out the gate swinging. But eventually it will be on par with, at the very least, PlayStation Network, where some people that don't know any better think that PlayStation Network is just as good as Xbox Live, which
no,
is not true.
and I just want to say, like, to a point, like that is okay for a service like that, you know. It's for a service such as like an online service being, you know, obviously coming out the gate, not being strong, being okay, being good enough. That's all right, you know. And that in that case, that's you know, in that sense, that's okay in the gaming industry. But as far as like it's a complete separate tangent, but like some of these games we've been seeing, like Sea of Thieves, coming out with so much, like so little content, and then we're not paying attention out here, okay? We want, but anyway, that's a whole different thing. It's just something I had to mention. It's that's irritating. Like nowadays, it's like these games are just getting freaking put out, and it's just like, oh, you know.
Yeah, it's like games are being developed before our very eyes.
Right.
Instead of it being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make you this meal. It's like, oh, watch me cook it, and then eventually it'll be done. You know, like.
Right. You eat while I'm still making it for you. It's dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean that's pretty much where we're at. Freaking Nintendo with the gameplay, Xbox infrastructure, and also character.
Like and then Microsoft with the services and customer service, and Sony with the big story content, like the big blockbuster games and stuff like that, like pushing the industry forward.
Yeah, like their games are like movies, you know, like a lot of them like The Last of Us and things like that. I love I wish they brought back some of their older stuff though, like as far as like the well, I mean, we did see Ratchet and Clank remaster, but I want to see more Ratchet and Clank. I want to see, you know, more Jack and Daxter, more things like that. Sony has a lot of things. I don't know if we're. I know, but Sony has a lot of things that I love. Like I do love a lot of Sony stuff.
Yeah, I think that, but I think that's also one of their weaknesses. Is that they give their developers, or not necessarily that they give their developers so much freedom, but that they give their developers so much freedom, and then they handle that developer's IP with gloves, you know? Where it's like, Nintendo, if people wanted Jack and Daxter, right? Nintendo's not going to be like, oh, well, you know, the studio that's making Jack and Daxter wants to move on from that. So
right, they can't. They're not going to outsource it.
You know, like Nintendo would be like, nah, we don't care that Camelot's gone. We're giving Mario Party to Hudson now. You know, like stuff like that.
Right.
that like people, and I mean, we get that a lot in our comments where it's like, oh, this developer's gone, so they're not going to make the game anymore. It's like, dude, that's not how game development works. Like the guy that created Metroid is dead. And we're still getting, but I mean, the point stands. Like, the guy who formulated that in his brain is no longer with us, and we're still getting Metroid this year or next. You know, so the show must go on when it's like part of this giant corporation and has this huge fan base and stuff like that. As far as Nintendo goes, Sony is more. I don't know. They respect their wishes or something. I don't even know if that's their wishes. Maybe they just right. Maybe they just don't think that Jak and Daxter is going to do well. Because for a long time, Crash Bandicoot didn't. Like, it's not like Crash Bandicoot died with Naughty Dog. They gave. Sony never owned Crash Bandicoot. Universal Studios did, and then Universal sold it to. I think they sold it to EA maybe, and then it went from like EA to Activision, and now Activision has it. But yeah, that's what it took to really revive the franchise. It's like another studio's like, all right, we're bringing it back because there's 90s nostalgia now, and everybody wants it.
Right. Yeah. So speaking of everybody wants it, Wario for the Switch. This has been a video like this, like long in the making, as far as like just like different.
That should have been done though.
Right, did different content.
Yeah,
and
because for a while like that was like a trending thing, because like that whole thing of like WarioWare got trademarked again, and everybody's like, oh man,
exactly.
What's going to happen with the Wario Land trademark and stuff like that? Is it going to be virtual console? Is it going to be a new game? So on and so forth.
Yeah. So so overall thoughts on this whole video and just Wario in general, as far as like the series.
There was this weird thing, right, where whenever we like, people always want the opposite thing, or the people that are going to complain, they always want the exact opposite thing of what we want, right? Where it's like, you said that you wanted a 2D Wario game instead of a 3D one, and there's people in your comments being like, why do we need to have 2D? We had enough 2D and stuff like that. You can literally never win, you know. Like, it just
but if I was to make a video talking about, I want a 3D Wario game, everybody's like, what about you don't like Wario Land? You hate Wario Land.
Then we would get, not every game needs to be open world, you know, like
right,
like the definition of open world is dead, because it's like people think every game that is semi-vast and not completely linear is open world. Like Mario Odyssey is not open world. It's not.
Yeah, right.
So it's like that sort of thing, and like Ratchet and Clank and like most games, because of the technology we have now, if they're a 3D game, they're going to feel like they're open world because the world's going to be huge, you know, but that doesn't make it an open world game.
Yeah, exactly. And like to that point, that was just more of a thing where it's like the 2D Wario game just play better. Like, you know, that 3D Wario game, even though it was a one-off thing, it was a clutter.
At the same time, I think that's a good reason to bring it back.
Right. I mean, I'm sure they could, like, now they could make it, they could do it better, but
because they could have did that with Crash Bandicoot, but unfortunately, it's still terrible. But
it's like you're like Izzy with the 3DS. You got to throw that in there every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm like that with everything. That's why Izzy's like that with 3DS, because I will I double down. I'm like, you know what? Like, that was just a throwaway comment, and then it made people mad. So it's like, okay, well, you took it somewhere else that it didn't need to be. Now I had to be a jerk about it.
Yeah. Now I know that it bothers you, I'm gonna keep
not
saying
even that. Not even that. It's just like that people are so against it, where it's this like it's categorically false, because they have this weird nostalgia for a game that is not, like, if that game came out yesterday, people would say it's garbage, but because it was of its time or whatever, people make excuses for it. I don't like that. I don't like it. But yeah, that's a tangent.
speaking of tangent, some of you guys go on them when you're in these comments, and
I like intentionally pick them because like the short comments are like, "This is a great video. I agree," and it's like. We appreciate those comments, but they're not comments that are like something we can really
right.
Discuss
They're not worth making a topic about or giving a
they can't. Like it's not that they're not worth it. It's that how much discussion are we going to get out of that?
Right.
Like,
just saying I like the video. I'm like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, it's like what are we going to do? Go on for 20 minutes about we really put a lot of work in our videos, and we know you'll like them.
Right.
Like it's like why are we going to do that?
Right.
But yeah,
it's like over here like smelling on farts.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
What the I mean Gizencha Fox commented and said 2D platformer of Warrior Land would be fine for 2020, maybe late 2019. But if they do anything platforming with him soon, I think it needs to be 3D. Due to just how much 2D platforming Nintendo are doing this year. As such, if it comes out anytime soon, I'd either a 3D platformer or something new with a new character. Parentheses. What would a Wario and Waluigi RPG look like compared to a Mario and Luigi RPG, for example? For a 2D game, platforming otherwise, I'd probably want a HD version of the Shake It art style. I mean, I don't think those are bad ideas.
I like the ideas.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
The premise of the whole thing is like I disagree. Like, how many 2D platformers are they coming out with? Like they're coming out with a port of Donkey Kong Country, and I think that's it. Like, I think that's the only new 2D platformer on Switch that Nintendo's working on, isn't it?
Well, as far as, because like I'm trying to think, we had Donkey Kong Country, then we have Yoshi. Yoshi can be considered.
Yoshi's kind of 2.5D, but that counts. And Yoshi and Kirby,
right?
Kirby
those are the main three. Those are the main three.
So Yoshi, Kirby, and Donkey Kong.
And Mario, I don't see it. There's not a 2D Mario. I don't see that coming out.
There's a thing that everybody likes to bring up in your Wii video of like, oh, there's that Super Mario, the original one that got ported by Hamster. That game is trash. First of all, second of all, the port is bad. The port is bad, not the game itself, but the port is not good. Second of all, it's a port. Like it's not a new game. So I don't count that in my like thing. Like, I like ports, but I'm not gonna like act like, oh, there's already a port of X game on here. Can't like the whole Mario Kart thing. Like the fact that people think we're not gonna get a Mario Kart game because we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, are you crazy? They're gonna
exactly.
Like, that's insane.
Man, Mario Kart 9, just to have that on the box art, I mean, that's gonna sell. Like, just have the Mario Kart 9. It's like that's gonna freaking sell like hotcakes. And I want to touch on, they said, what would Wario and the Waluigi RPG look like compared to a Mario and Luigi RPG? I think
weird.
It would be weird. I think it'd be I think it'd be interestingly themed.
What if it was an action RPG?
That'd be funny. But I think it'd just be themed pretty well. Like it would like just be more about like the pursuit of money and riches and it'd be a underhanded, like under the table type of deal.
Penny punching princess.
Yes, I think it'd be pretty cool. In terms of gameplay, I'm not sure that. I'd be interested in seeing that. I just think, like I said before, I think Waluigi needs to, he needs to be accompanied with Wario before he can come into his own, because nobody cares about Waluigi by himself.
I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I think a lot of people care about Waluigi.
I don't know.
Out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure his search, I think his search results are pretty good on YouTube.
Because it seems like one of those things that was like people will be like rooting for him, like yeah. And then when it actually happens, it's like, man, like I don't know, it just seems like people just are, I don't know, like they're rallying behind it, but at the same time, I feel like if it actually were to come to light, people would be like, yeah.
I mean, I feel like people would have said that about Wario when that happened.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, Wario has like a track record while Luigi's just like, yeah. Well,
but it started somewhere.
Yeah, true.
So,
but even then, he was attached to Mario.
But so is Waluigi. Waluigi has been in Mario Kart. He's been in Mario Tennis.
True.
He's been in so many million-plus seller games. People know who Waluigi is.
Of course, I'm just saying. He's I don't know. Like I just they have to market like
any less difficult for them to make a successful Waluigi game than it was for them to make Splatoon successful.
No, I'm not questioning if they'd be like a successful. I'd have to see how they'd go about like as far as
it had to be a good game.
Like how they go about like theming it and everything else. Yeah. How they go about putting it together, because I want to see if people would actually like back that. I'm not sure if people actually would. Overall, let me see. Ghost Geese. Did I skip a comment? No, Ghost Geese. Or Ghost Guest, whatever. A lot of characters deserve more love. I'm sick of it being Mario, Donkey Kong, Yoshi all the time. Peach, Daisy, Wario, Luigi, and Bowser focused game be great. What? And Bowser focused game be great.
I think that was a separate thing. That's a separate thing. He's saying he's sick of seeing Donkey Kong, Mario, and Yoshi all the time. Period. Peach, Daisy, Wario, Luigi,
and Bowser
focused game would
be great. Okay, yeah, it would. Yeah. They need their own open-ended adventure. Nintendo has all these characters, but they don't use them. I feel the same way about Mario. Huh?
I said Luigi has it.
Right. I feel the same way about Mario Kart. Nintendo has so many characters they can use, but giving us shovelware baby and me characters,
I don't know.
Luigi has a game. Wario has a game.
Yeah, I agree with the premise. I do want to see more Nintendo. Like, I want to see them branch out more. Peach has had her own game. I
didn't even know that.
Yeah, Super Princess Peach on DS. It's pretty good. It's very sexist, but it's good.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, because she her power is that she PMSs.
Wow!
Seriously.
Wow!
But yeah, it's pretty good. They should reboot it.
Wow!
But yeah, like. And I think that's like a reason why we don't see more of them, because you didn't even know that existed.
Yeah,
he clearly didn't know that they existed, because he mentioned Wario, Peach, and Luigi, and Bowser. I mean, there are Bowser focused.
Like the Bowser sounds. I mean that's kind of, kind of.
Yeah, but it's not a Bowser game.
Right.
Bowser focused.
Yeah,
I don't know if being Bowser in a full game would be fun. I mean, I'd be interested in like
that's weird.
them trying to do it, but I don't know if it would be fun. Maybe if it was what is that? Like a dungeon master sort of thing. You know, like you're Bowser and you're like trying to kill Mario.
That's pretty cool.
Through like manipulating your minions and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even controlling him in the Odyssey was pretty cool. That was like epic. That was so cool.
But I think it was cool because it was just this one isolated thing. It wasn't the entirety of the game.
Yeah, if you had to pay Bowser for a section, I'd be like, okay, this is weird. But yeah, to add Wario and Luigi on that list, have you never played a Wario game or a Luigi game? Because they should be on that list.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since like Luigi, he literally got a game. Well, it's the same game, but he literally got another announcement for Luigi's Mansion on 3DS. Burn the 3DS. But yeah, like we're seeing more of Luigi.
Yeah, exactly. So Luigi's getting enough love, I feel
like. So basically, what we're saying is your comment is stupid. Never leave another one again. No, I'm joking.
No, but Justin says, so this is going to probably sound off the wall, but I would love something that would marry the two. Have a well-made platformer that incorporates weird gestures and motion controls into a bunch of super zany level designs. Something super stylized like the WarioWare and Suda51 games are, but with completely crazy controls. Like having to pull a mustache off of a boss or something.
Yeah. I'd be down for that, like a platformer with a lot of WarioWare influences. That'd be strange.
That'd be really cool.
I'm down for it. That's a good idea.
Bring both those worlds together, because the WarioWare games are freaking fun as hell. And if you haven't played them, just get off the channel and never revisit ever again.
Don't check them out. Just leave. Don't talk to us.
But yeah. And I gotta talk to you about the video you made this week. Splatoon 2, which we should cover more often. Before this was only like, what, once?
Twice. I talked about Splatoon 2 times ever, which is strange.
Like 2 times before this, or just 2 times like...
2 times before this, yeah.
Okay.
I did a video before Splatoon 2 came out, and I did a video a little bit after Splatoon 2 came out about Splatfest. The first one was like, this is what Splatoon 2 is going to be, the single player and stuff like that.
Right, okay, yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah, it was good good speculation. I like all the ideas you proposed. It just, I feel like if they expanded upon that in the way especially the multiplayer, I'm glad you mentioned that, because like playing with your friends, that is a big hurdle, especially like, and obviously we like Splatoon a lot. It's a fun game, fun series in general, but that is something that's really just such a nauseating experience just to even play with your friends, like, and it's annoying.
It's pretty easy to play with your friends in Turf War. Like that's there's no real resistance to that.
But that's just, the only.
At that point, they're like when you're in Turf War, it's not seamless because you can't play with your friends on the same team.
Right, and that
part of me like likes that, you know, because it's like I don't always want to be on your team, and I don't always want to choose when I am. You know, like sometimes I do want to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna smack you. You know, like that.
Right. But to never have like to always be like it's up in the air.
Never have control over that.
Right, it's up in the air. That's like. If you can just have, like, just switch whatever, that'd be cool. But yeah,
right. Even if it if there was like a method to the madness of like, okay, last game you play with your friends, or last 3 games you play with your friends, now we'll switch you out. You know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool. At least you have a way to gauge it. Like, okay, you know, but it's like odds are, you know, it's like it's not gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah, let's get into some of these comments and see what you guys think. Jesse Gibbons said, should the Splatoon series get an FPS adventure game like Metroid Prime? There could be a large city to explore and possibly hundreds of different weapons to pick up. Maybe Ink Colors could have different abilities in this in such a game, like the different gels in Portal 2.
Yes, 1000% yes. I want that. Please and thank you. I think I said that in the reply to the comment.
That was my exact reply.
I think it was, or something along those lines. But yes, I'd be down for that. I think that making Splatoon feel grander would be a good move for that game, because it's kind of like it's a platformer. You know, like the single player campaign is a platformer. It's like Ratchet and Clank type of situation. Whereas I think
definitely
it could be interesting if it was less Ratchet and Clank, more like Doom, you know, like that sort of thing, or Metroid Prime, like he said.
Yeah, that'd be freaking sick. That'd be really sick. So that way, it would just, I feel like it just ease over some other people that are in the like you know, some people that aren't so into that kind of that type of style that Splatoon's already in. You know, if it's more familiar to what they're used to and what they're accustomed to. Like,
or not even that. Like, if they are like the style that Splatoon is in, like the main gameplay, like the draw to the game. It's not a platformer, you know. Like, how often do you really like platform when you're like in a match? You know, like very, very seldom do you do that. There's
right.
Obviously times when you do. Like, there's stages with like hazards and stuff like that you have to platform around.
Right.
But it's nowhere near like to the extent that you do in that single player campaign. And I think that the platforming definitely would need to be a factor. Platforming is sort of a factor in like Metroid. So I think that they could definitely like meld that in there, but I don't think that it needs to be like the focus of the game. I don't think Splatoon needs to be Mario. I think being Metroid makes more sense for a shooter.
Yeah, and like say somebody like somebody comes in and they're not literally a fan of Splatoon's like say, you know, they're not really, I'm not into that like mobility or something like that, you know, and they have that and they can come in and enter in that way where it's not like and I think that's good. You don't have all that like that chaos and having to jump everywhere, like, you know, and get all confused, because like a lot of people like they're just not into that, you know. A lot of people might not be into which you're insane if you're one of these people, but maybe they don't like traversing through their ink or all this other stuff, and they're just like, I don't like.
If you don't like traversing through the ink, then you shouldn't be playing the game,
right?
But because that's at least 30% of it.
Right, exactly. They're like, that's like running around knowing what my character is.
Yeah, I just don't like shooting. So it's like, what?
It's like, why are you playing a shooter?
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know how to say this name. Calcputer? Whatever.
Calcputer.
Yeah. You say killing doesn't matter 9 times out of 10. But as a fan, since the first test fire 4 years ago, I'd have to say I disagree with that. Yes, Nintendo likes to push that anyone can play, and it's not catered toward the same audience as Counter-Strike. But stopping the enemy team before they stop you and giving your team more time to ink while your opponents respond is essentially how you gain an advantage to win. Even in Turf War, I have lost more games than I can count because I die within 15 seconds to go, i.e. the opponents can kill, and it matters to the final outcome. AJ, you're stupid. No, it didn't. No, obviously, you know.
There's still more to his comment.
Oh, shoot, I didn't even scroll. Let me scroll down. Also, dang, you pissed this person off.
No, he continued in the reply where he's like, overall, I like the video, but continue.
Damn. Also, the requirement for league battles is reasonable. IMO. Level 10 can be reached in under an hour, you stupid. And if you understand the mode rules and how to push an objective, you will easily rank up. I think it is entirely fair that these playing League Battle have a basic understanding of ink coverage and at least one ranked mode. A few times in League Battle, I have played against some of the top competitive players. I am glad that even though we were playing and probably going to lose, I could at least be sure the 2 random teammates knew how to play the game at some basic level. Did you understand that with my weird forgetting?
Yes, I understand. So first of all, the major thing that stuck out to me in kind of like a funny way, like when I read this comment, is he kind of try to like humble brag of like, I've been playing this game forever. You know, like I've been like he was like, I've been playing since the first test fire. I played this game before the first test fire.
It's like, I've been a fan of you since day 0.
Yeah, it's like I played this game at like an event, you know. So it's like. And I mean the original one. I played obviously Splatoon 2 before everybody. I played the original one at an event too.
Right.
So it's like I've been playing it just as long, and you can attest to this. I'm almost always number 1 on whatever team I'm on when we're playing Splatoon. And I stand by that 1,000%. It's more about not being killed than it is killing, you know? Like, you don't have to kill somebody in Splatoon to excel at Splatoon. And ranked battle, sure, but this video wasn't about ranked battle, or it wasn't towards people that play ranked battle. It was towards people that have problems with Splatoon because it does require you to be like so deep into the game, but it is marketed as this game that everybody can play. Turf War is definitely one of those things that anybody can play because of how that approach is. Like, you can succeed doing either thing. I think you succeed more if you realize the objective is not killing, it's not being killed. And
right. KD is like it's like okay, good on you, but it's not a thing where it's like it's of course killing makes a difference in the game because obviously, you know, people respond, you can cover the ink, whatever. But like you said, you know, if you can survive and avoid those situations, you can cover the ink and you can cover the turf and win the game for your teammates. It's not a requirement like in other games.
Right, and it's a whole thing of like, picture the scenario of like nobody shooting anybody, right? All people are going to do is they're going to advance. Even in his scenario, right, where it's like, oh, it's so important to kill the other team respawns, and then they're able to cover the part of the turf that you covered while they were still out progressing towards where you were at. Right. So it's like, that's a lot of how I get points, is like when I do die, I take that opportunity to cover up what everybody else left behind trying to advance. So like, dying is a powerful tool, if anything, if you use it right. And if you die at the right times. So it's like Splatoon is not Call of Duty. Call of Duty, the whole point of the game is like you better be getting kills, you better have a 30 to 2 KD or something like that in the game, you know, like to be considered good in the game. But in Splatoon, it's not about that. Even in ranked battle, it's not about that. Like you can win a lot of the ranked battle modes just by being better at maneuvering than your opponent is.
Right. Like yeah, like to say something has an effect is not to say it's necessary, you know, and that's the main point. It's just like you said, people like literally people can go kill us in a match of Splatoon and still be a victor, you know, and you know 9 times out of 10 it wouldn't be a draw. It almost never would be a draw. Yeah. Like even without the aspect of killing people, or, you know, killing different players. So that's not a necessity. It's not a requirement. So I think that was fun. Like they were like really defensive in that comment.
And it was, I would say it's pretty off base. And the reason why I said 9 times out of 10 is because of, and I addressed a lot of this in my reply to him, where it's like that one time for me is the ranked battle, because like as somebody that doesn't play the game, not me, but like somebody that doesn't play the game, how often do you play ranked battles in Splatoon?
Freaking. Not often.
Exactly. So it's like, and AC's the same way, and anybody that plays the game, like they may play and put a lot of hours in, but most of those hours is going in a turf war. Like that's what most people default to. And turf war is not a thing that you need to get kills. Not most times the people that are like really gunning for kills are the people with the least amount of points.
Right.
So it's
like,
just like
yeah, more so like Splatoon is just like I don't want to kill the players. I just don't want to be killed myself. So I'm gonna kill you.
Exactly. That's what I said.
Thing.
It's like right. I maybe come out of a game with like a 4-0 KD, where it's like I killed 4 people and just didn't die, and then that's probably like my most successful game. And all 4 of those people might have been 2 people at a time, you know, where it's like 2 people are closing in on me and I use like a special or something and I kill both of them. But like I'm not over there like, oh, that guy's there and he's advancing their team, I better take him out so that I can stall. It's, you know, like,
I'm trying to cover my turf, and if you get in the way of that and you try to attack me, then you gotta be splatted. That's what it is.
Right. Like you gain more for your team by covering what nobody covered than you would if you covered what is already covered. Because at that point, like if it's a math problem, you take their 1 from 0 with covering their ink, whereas with covering new ink, you take their 0 to a -1 because you took ink that they never had.
Right.
So it's like it's way better to seek out what nobody claimed than it is to like have this tug of war battle taking back their ink the whole time.
Right, exactly. But yeah, that was a but yeah, overall, thank you guys for commenting on the videos. Keep doing it. And you could be, who knows, you could be one of the comments we pull up on our weekly episodes of this podcast. But on to the Q&A for this week. Once again, if you want to get your questions into the podcast for this for the weekly shout outs and all that stuff for your name, whatever, just join the Discord and, you know, be engaging. And if we like your question, it will be added to the episode. This week we have a nice pool of them. So starting off the list, we have Eric Hendley on Discord. Is Bob the same person, the same in person as he is on YouTube, or is he just an on-screen personality?
No, Bob sucks. He routinely is like, do you know how many subscribers I have? Bob mauled a real person in real life, and I watched him. Bob is terrible. No, he's pretty much the same. He's way quieter though. Like way quieter, which I mean makes sense because I'm the same way, where it's like you're not going to talk in person the same exact way that you would in a video. Like it's played up, obviously, where it's like
right, it's you, but it's a beefed up you know, and you have a reason for just you have a reason. There's a reason you're speaking. You know, it's not there's not. You know, if it's like you don't always have a reason to talk. You know, it's like,
I'm not gonna go to McDonald's and be like, I want a Big Mac. You know, like I'm not gonna talk like that. I'm like, yeah, let me get a Big Mac. But I'm not gonna open a video up like, yeah. So I'm talking about Splatoon today.
Yeah, it's kind of like a I feel so bad for these people, but like comedians, where it's like, hey, say something funny. Like I'm not in that realm, dude. I'm not working right now. Right. I don't have to be funny all the time.
Yeah. So long story short, Bob's terrible, and you should hate him. Will's better. Granted, I never met Will in person, so I don't know. He could be terrible too. But no, seriously, no. Bob's cool.
IronThor asks, what was your first console? Mine was the Wii. I'll answer this one first. My first console that I remember actually owning was a Nintendo 64. That was my first console.
What a child. What a young child. No, but like, I don't know. That's a weird question. Like, because I mean, we both had siblings.
Jeez, I'm so sorry, but he said his first console was a Wii. Jeez, how young is this kid? No, go ahead.
Clearly, my guess is he's 14.
Like, I was like 12.
That's not a bad thing, but I mean,
no.
That's just my guess. I see a lot of people that are like around that age, 14, 15, like around that. But yeah, I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, it's weird because we have siblings, so and they're older than us. So like there was consoles in my house before I was born. So it's like the first console that I remember us having is the Sega Genesis. The first console that I remember, like I was like alive and cognizant when we got it, and I remember playing it, is Super Nintendo. And we got it. I used to think that we got it like late. Like as in we got the console that we got way after it came out. But the SNES that we came out in 96. Like around when the N64 was already like, it was gearing up and becoming.
Already making its rounds, yeah. But what was the first one that you like that was like yours? Like, this is mine.
The first one that was mine was my Game Boy Color.
I respect it. I respect it wholeheartedly because Game Boy Color is freaking dope.
Yeah.
I love Game Boy Color, but anyway.
That was my Pokemon machine until I got like Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. But I mean, that's my main memory with my Game Boy Color is Pokemon. It's playing Pokemon Yellow.
Rightfully so. Freaking Pokemon's those are the classics. Lethal Storm on Discord asks, what was the first game that got you into your favorite genre? Like, say it's JRPGs. What experience in that genre made you go, damn, I really like these games? I think it's really weird. It's a really weird question because I have moments where I'm like, okay, this is my favorite game at this time, or I'll be like, okay, I like this game a lot, or But as far as favorite genre overall,
I think your favorite genre is easy.
It is easy. JRPGs. I do like JRPGs, or just RPGs in general.
Yeah.
But as far as the game that made me really go like, dang, these are freaking great. It'd either be Kingdom Hearts or maybe one of the. No, I'm not gonna say Final Fantasy. I do like Final Fantasy X, but I think it's more so Kingdom Hearts that got me into that whole like, oh, these freaking. I like these stories. I like these like these experiences. I like how these worlds, these characters. I think these are freaking epic, and it's over from there. But
I think my favorite genre is harder because I don't have like a distinct one. Like I'd say my favorite genre is probably like action games, but that's kind of like what does that even mean? Like
I was gonna say because like what's a really good, like when I think of action game, like I'm like, what can I point to that's like really like that right there,
like Breath of the Wild's an action game, like Mario Odyssey is also an action game, like that sort of like those type of experience, like Uncharted, like like that whole thing.
Okay.
But I don't know, because like when action games became like a thing, like where it's like this is definitively an action game, is like the 3D, like like around that time. I would say the first game that I played that I was like, wow, this is amazing, and I would say falls under that genre is probably Link to the Past. But Link to the Past is almost like a JRPG in a lot of ways. It's weird. As far as like the first game that I played that's like definitively that still is Wind Waker.
Wind Waker's great. Wind Waker is great.
Yeah.
Wind Waker's a great. That's a great game.
Yeah, Wind Waker.
That's a great game.
Dope. Wind Waker is the game that should get the praise that Ocarina of Time does, because Ocarina of Time ain't that good no more. But yeah. So either way, it was a Zelda game. It was Zelda. Let's just say Zelda.
All right. I respect that answer. MegakirbyGP.
What I don't respect is Mega Kirby. we've been slacking on the.
I know, all episode. On the Discord, it says, if Virtual Console ever comes to the Switch, do you think Joy-Cons could replace the Wiimotes? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Dude, that was your episode of.
Wait. Yes, completely. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I think it's easier for that to be a thing because, like, especially with like super old games where not as many buttons are required.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Super Nintendo games and prior to that, like just being like, hey, here's this Joy-Con, let's play Link to the Past. That sort of thing. I think that it works really well for that because you don't have to, like, Wii remotes are small, but it's still a thing, you know, like to bring them with you.
Right.
Like bringing your Joy-Con with you, it's like, all right, just put it on there. The controllers are fine. I wouldn't say the Wii remote is like phenomenal for that sort of thing, but it was good enough. And that's the space that single Joy-Con fall into.
Right.
Is good enough for this situation.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for the questions this week. These were all really good questions. So Eric, IronThor, Lethal Storm, and Mega Kirby Thoughts. Thank you guys so much. And I want to do this like more often. I want to like freaking round up everybody's question and be like, you know what? You guys have a good questions, you know, shout everybody out at the end. So yeah, we appreciate it. And once again, if you guys keep asking questions, keep engaging, keep watching, keep commenting, and keep showing the love. This has been episode 16 of Directly to You, and we have AJ, what should they do?
Yeah, I gotta think of a thing. I gotta like that has to be like in the show notes, like my thing.
Right.
Like, I gotta start doing that. Always tip your waitress. Unless they suck. If they suck, don't tip them. If they suck, take their money.
I just started tipping this year. No, I'm joking. Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.